याकुन्देन्द्रधराय शुद्रवस्त्राभृताय वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकराय श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतः शङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषज्ञापा श्रीराजेश्वरी भगवताय हरि ओम्. Blessed immortal Atman, beloved children of the Divine, fortunate participants in this 4-day yoga and spiritual retreat. There are 9 modes of practicing devotion. The first is called listening about the Divine Being. Hearing and listening about Divine Being. Chanting and singing the glories of the Divine Being is the second. Constantly remembering the Divine Being is the third. The next 3 constitute worship of the Divine Being as a personal divinity closely related in terms of spiritual sentiment. And this worship and adoration may take the form of offering of flowers and offering devout obeisance and other such acts of devotion and honoring, like offering of incense, offering of a candle light, and offering of various beautiful articles, and serving Him with the devout attitude of an eternal servant, serving His feet and seeing Him in other beings and being of service to them also. These triple modes of showing our devotion is called Archan, Vandan, Padaseva. The first 3 are called Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran. The next 3 are called Archan, Vandan, Padaseva, offering and adoring and serving. These are still in the level of your human personality. You engage in these acts of relating yourself to the cosmic being still as a human being relating oneself to the Divine Being. This brings about a mature state of devotion. And engaging in these acts of progressive devotion gradually brings about a transformation in your inner consciousness. And your inner consciousness now tends to liberate itself and rise higher than the level of your merely earthly human personality. You now begin to feel of yourself as a part of the cosmic being and not as a part of this phenomenal world. Your entire attitude and relationship to the whole world now changes, and it is relegated to a secondary position. In this place, your consciousness becomes filled and dominated only by an awareness of your relationship to the Supreme Eternal Cosmic Being. You no longer feel yourself to be someone in relation to someone else. You no longer feel yourself primarily as someone belonging to this world or related to this world. You feel yourself as someone eternally related to an unseen, mystical, transcendental being. Your consciousness of yourself now becomes lifted up to a higher spiritual level altogether. It is no longer an awareness of your relationship based upon your body and mind, etc., or your name and form. Your consciousness now is upon a level where it feels, I belong to God, I am a part of that being. That being is my all in all. He is my beginning, my middle and end. He is my eternal source and origin. He is my unseen support and sustainer. He is the ultimate fulfillment of my very life. That being alone is my true and eternal abode. And when devotion reaches that level, your consciousness goes through three phases. Firstly, overwhelmed by the magnitude, majesty and the grandeur of the Divine Being, you feel yourself to be a humble servant at His feet. And you feel that it is the greatest privilege possible on earth to serve Him. And there could be no greater privilege in life than to serve Him and please Him by serving His own creation. And you feel immense gratitude and congratulate yourself that you are being given the occasion to thus serve His entire creation. As the devotion and love for God now progresses and intensifies, you feel a greater nearness to God. That state of being overwhelmed by grandeur, greatness and magnitude now gives place to a greater familiarity and a nearness to Him, in which state you begin to feel, your consciousness assumes the attitude of a companion, a partner, a friend in its relationship to God. You begin to feel that He is your eternal companion, your ever-ready friend in need and helper at every step. You call upon Him as you call upon a friend and helper. You talk to Him familiarly and ask and even demand His help and attention. You are now overcome by a sense of closeness and nearness to Him. It is a deeper relationship with the Divine. And as this level of devotion and its practice in the form of various acts of bhakti progresses, it reaches a stage when you can think of nothing else but God. All other thoughts and ideas begin to fast disappear from the mind, and the entire consciousness becomes filled and dominated only by the God thought or the God idea. This takes you a state not only of nearness and familiarity, but great spiritual intimacy with God, until at last the consciousness reaches such a stage of such total God-filledness that the awareness of one's own separate identity ceases to be or disappears. Even the spiritual identity, this new spiritual consciousness, becomes offered at the altar of Godhead. And in this state, the devotee exists only for God, and there is only a faint awareness of oneself as a separate being. And even this faint awareness of one's separate spiritual entity is something that is totally in relation to God and God only. This stage and state of devotion is referred to as self-offering. And it is summed up by Gurudev's words, I am thine, all is thine. You alone are everything that exists. This new identity where one is aware of oneself only as some being related to God is an inner transformation brought about by the practice of the first 6 steps in Bhakti Yoga, and it is characterized by the progressive states of a servant consciousness and a companion or more intimate friend consciousness, and then total self-offering of oneself. It is referred to or termed Dasya Sakshat Atma Nivedana. It is a combination of the path of devotion to the divine, and only a faint trace of one's separate identity remains in the consciousness. It is almost akin to the state of consciousness of the philosopher or the jnani, Vedanti. Master has summed it up by saying, Bhakti begins with 2 and ends, culminates in 1. And this oneness is, of course, the classical goal of the Vedantic ideal. When Bhakti reaches this state of oneness, it is called transcendental devotion. They call it Para Bhakti. Para means that which transcends. And Gurudev always used to say again and again, Para Bhakti and Jnana are one. This is the nature of true spiritual love for the Divine Being, which in its later stages goes beyond a state of merely human emotion or human sentiment and human love. Your human identity becomes pushed aside, and you become aware of yourself only as a spiritual part of the cosmic being. Parabhakti and Jnana are one. This concept was expressed in a very poetical way by an earlier mystic. In one of his poetical compositions he said, the lane of the lover is extremely narrow. It is broad in the beginning but becomes extremely narrow, and the stage comes when it cannot hold 2 persons. There are certain lanes like that in very, very old rural village parts. If a person is walking and a cow comes from the other side, either the cow has to back out or you have to back out. So he says, the lane of the lover is extremely narrow. It cannot hold 2. Which means, as the devotee reaches that stage of very close nearness to God, either he has to disappear from the lane if he wants God to come to him, or he will remain but God cannot enter and meet him. That means, humanly speaking, it is when the lover effaces oneself and becomes a non-being, then divinity suddenly dawns upon his consciousness. Then shall I be free when I shall cease to be. This is a declaration of a truth both in the path of divine love as well as in the path of Vedanta. Thus, properly practiced and truly pursued to the very end, Bhakti leads to the highest state of Vedantic oneness. And in that state, the Bhakta has the vision and declares everything is but God and God only. Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. The entire universe is pervaded by the divine. And the Vedanta says Sarvam Brahmamayam. Only a difference in words but identical experience. Sarvam Brahmamayam, Sarvam Vishnumayam, Sarvam Shivamayam. Everything is nothing but divine and divine only. To test me, there is a little divinity here. Tiny little divinity.
There is inclined hooks and problems.
I give darshan. Come to give darshan.
This is Gomanam Darshan.
You can hardly see it. Yeah, I know. Ask someone to come and leave it outside. It is very small. Now this brings us to a question of relationship. The entire process of yoga, call it a science, call it a divine art of true life, the entire concept of yoga, entire process of yoga is a process of relating ourselves to the eternal source and origin of your being. Your consciousness is at this moment totally filled in by relationship with this phenomenal world of changing objects. Therefore, the entire consciousness is constantly in a state of change because it is filled with perception and awareness of only changeful things. Naturally, the interior is not in a state of stability and perfect peace. It is fickle and restless, and therefore it does not give you a state of total satisfaction and contentment. And yoga tells us how to rise above this by creating within us a new relationship, but not to a new thing, a new relationship to the oldest ever thing that ever exists. For ultimately we belong to that eternal, the eternal spiritual realm of light beyond all darkness, the eternal spiritual realm of timeless wakefulness. And a restoration of that relationship is the starting of our upward ascent in consciousness into an awareness of that forgotten state of eternal light. And this relationship is brought about through body, mind, emotion and intellect. For these are the four factors by and to which you are related to this world of changing names and forms. Your present state is your constant and continuous relationship and involvement to this outer gross world, material world. And therefore, the content of your experience is only what this outer material world can give to you. It cannot be anything else. And yoga brings in a new dimension into your life. Tells you there is a far greater relationship. A relationship not of and with finite and limited objects that pass, the change and pass, but a relationship with an unchanging, eternal, all-perfect state of fullness. A state of fullness touching which and experiencing which all desires become fulfilled instantaneously. There is no more any desire, there is no more any want left. One becomes established in a state of fullness oneself. It is like the bubble merging in the sea. This state of relationship is our natural state. Your state of relationship to this world is a temporary moving away from your natural state. Therefore, it is that it fails to give you true satisfaction, and you keep on seeking for something which you do not know what. And those who similarly pass through the experience which you are passing through, in ancient times, they also set about questioning and trying to find out an answer for this lack of satisfaction and contentment. They were able to perceive the imperfection and defective nature of this present relationship with the outer world, and discovering the existence of the greater relationship with the inner being, they devise means to bring about this relationship to its ultimate fulfillment and direct experience. These means they gave as their gift to humanity forever. And we have inherited this as part of our global human heritage. And it is this heritage, our spiritual heritage, which we know as Yoga and Vedanta. As I said, either through body or mind or emotion or intellect, you have to bring about this relationship within you and starting developing it. What happens to your previous relationship with this world of things and beings? Several things happen, but all of them are positive and not negative. The first thing that happens is this present or previous relationship becomes secondary and the newly discovered relationship becomes primary. This may seemingly appear to be a negative development, and therefore the so-called pragmatists look at it with suspicion. So they say we don't want this world-denying process. It is due to a superficial grasp of the real nature and content of this change in relationship. The entire range of outer relationship becoming secondary is not a negative development. On the contrary, it is the commencement of your release in liberation. Because the greatest problem of modern man is that he is constantly under the pressure of the sum totality of this outer relationship to this world. The human individual feels trapped, like a trapped creature, always under the stress and pressure of numerous factors that willy-nilly surround one's daily life, minute after minute, moment by moment. And one feels oneself a bound being without freedom of action, propelled, impelled and compelled by factors over which he has no control. One seems to feel oneself to be a little cogwheel in a huge machinery, and the machinery there is no consciousness either. If you scream and shout, it does not take heed, it does not care. And helplessly you have to go on, being worked by that huge machinery. This is the condition of modern man. How intensely and acutely this condition is pressing down on modern man, only individuals can know. But long ago, more than 50 years before, this was foreseen by people with vision. They were thinkers, they were writers, but the most unlikely of persons who foresaw that was neither a thinker or a writer, he was a cinema actor, but he was a genius. And even at that time, he saw the sorrows of the world. He saw the sadness that was in the heart of modern man. And he felt for modern man because he was also a humanist. And he wanted to make people forget their sorrow and sadness. And he wanted to make people laugh He wanted to make people laugh and be joyful. And he made that his life's mission. And he made people to laugh. He was one of the most successful people in fulfilling this mission of making people laugh. And he became a multimillionaire. That is a lesser part of the story. He made people laugh without his ever laughing even a single moment, single time. And he became adored by the whole world. And his service in this field was recognized to be so important and so successful that he was made a knight of the British Empire. The Queen or King, whoever has knighted him. His name was called Charlie Chaplin. You see, I think he was a knight, sir. Queen knighted him. More than 50 years ago, he saw that if this total mechanization, automation of all things in man's life began to run out of hand and go on developing in this way, one day man will become slave of machine. He will lose his freedom as an individual and he will have to work for the machine. We are doing it now. You see, there are hundreds and thousands of technicians being prepared only in order to man IBMs and computers and all things. They have no other career but to equip themselves to learn the know-how and start, see, day and night becoming related to a machine and working that machine. He saw the error and the danger of this trend that was building up, and to warn modern society, he himself directed personally and acted in a film called Modern Times, in which he foresaw and predicted the predicament of man. And when this situation of yours becomes your deity, becomes your God, and it becomes the most important thing for you in your life as a free individual is finished. This is the deity modern man worships and does not know that he is a slave, or has been enslaved by this deity, machinery and technology, and all the pressures that builds and brings upon himself. And any development that makes this secondary and gives it a lesser place liberates you from its dominance, and therefore it becomes the first phase of your release and liberation. You suddenly wake up one morning and say, no, this is not that important as I have made it to be. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Thus far and no further. I refuse to give this importance anymore to this thing that has been keeping me bond slave. Life has a greater meaning. I have a greater business. I have a higher relationship to develop. And now this has to take second place. And now you are finding yourself. And you are now expressing yourself truly and really. And your life now starts. And this artificial thing which you are calling life up till now, gradually begins to loosen its primal hold upon you. Thus, giving primacy to the yoga and the spiritual relationship to the Supreme Being, and putting this hitherto previous relationship in its right place of a secondary role, becomes for you a positive step in the right direction psychologically as well as spiritually. It's a vital transformation from state of things which you thought inevitable, you suddenly realize that it is dispensable. Yoga brings to you a new liberated consciousness. There is an American expression, they call it calling the bluff. See? Calling the bluff. That means there is maybe a more familiar expression. You are frightened by a tiger and someone tells you, don't fear, don't be afraid. It's only a paper tiger. Very real appearance, but it's a paper tiger. This is called calling the bluff. See? Yoga gives you the right vision. Vedanta gives you a right understanding of what has been with you up till now. And suddenly the big balloon is pricked by a pin. And then the paper tiger has no longer the power to frighten you. And thus, this is one of the important things that the coming in of this new relationship does for you. Many other things it does, all positive and all necessary. We have to postpone it for some other time because we should not be late for lunch. Because I myself have in orientation spoken about punctuality. Hari Before we conclude with a brief meditation, you must know that what has been shared and given is only food for thought. You have to think and reflect over what has been shared with you today. And through reflection, you have to try to understand and realize what it means in relation to your own life and in what way you can make these received thoughts to serve you and help you. In what way you can apply it, thus change your relationship with the outer life, in which you are only in the place of passing pilgrim. So, think well and calmly reflect and make something out of it for yourself. Yoga